You are listening to Shadows of Vengeance, Book 3 in the Ethan Reeves Werewolf Detective Series, written by Ray Stonehouse, produced by Live for Excellence Productions, and narrated by Maxwell from Google. Prologue: Echoes of Vengeance. The town of Daybridge was a place where time seemed to have stopped, its cobblestone streets and ancient buildings whispering tales of a history steeped in both grandeur and sorrow. But beneath the quaint exterior, a darkness lingered, a legacy of blood and fire that had never truly been extinguished. On a night where the moon was hidden behind thick clouds, the air felt heavy with the weight of forgotten sins. In the heart of Daybridge, the old town square, once the site of the infamous witch trials of 1692, stood eerily silent. At its center loomed a single gnarled oak tree, its branches twisted like the fingers of the damned who had met their end there. A figure moved silently through the square, their steps echoing the dread-filled marches of those long-past condemned souls. They paused at the oak, kneeling to brush gnarled fingers against bark that had seen countless horrors. Here, Mary Blackwood had screamed her innocence until the flames consumed her, clutching her infant daughter even as the smoke choked them both. There, Elizabeth Thorne, the midwife who had delivered half the town's children, had cursed her accusers with her dying breath, promising that their bloodlines would wither like autumn leaves. From within the folds of their cloak, they produced the Bloodline Archive, its leather binding crafted from the skin of the executed, its pages stained with their blood. As it fell open, names blazed in crimson. Sarah Goodwin, hanged for healing the sick when the town's doctor had failed; Rebecca Clark, drowned for speaking to her cats; Hannah Morton, burned for knowing too much of herbs and moon lore. The figure began to chant, their voices carrying the weight of centuries. The ground trembled as spectral forms materialized, women with proud, defiant faces and eyes burning with vengeance. Agnes Wheeler, whose prophecies had saved the town from plague, only to be rewarded with accusations of consorting with devils. Margaret Drake, whose only crime had been her beauty and her refusal to marry the magistrate's son. The cloaked figure rose, revealing herself as Ravenna Blackwood, last descendant of Mary, the witch queen who had survived that terrible time. Her eyes gleamed with power as she addressed the gathered spirits. "Sisters," she called, "too long have we watched our murderers' descendants prosper while our own bloodlines were cut short. Tonight we reclaim what was taken." The spirits swirled around her, each bearing the marks of their execution. Catherine Mills, her neck still bearing the rope's kiss. The Preston sisters, their flesh forever scorched. Little Alice Gray, barely 13, when they accused her of bewitching the minister's horse. "We shall visit upon them the terror they showed us," Ravenna declared. "Let them feel the weight of chains, the bite of rope, the lick of flames. Let them know what it means to be hunted, to be blamed, to be condemned without mercy." The spirits dispersed into the night, each seeking the bloodlines of their tormentors. They carried with them 3 centuries of pain, of rage, of waiting in the dark. Ravenna watched them go, a cruel smile playing across her lips. In her hand, the Bloodline Archive pulsed with dark energy, each page a record of debts to be paid in full. The revenge of the witches of Daybridge had begun, and no power in heaven or earth could stop what was to come. The descendants of the accusers would learn that some sins echo through centuries, and some vengeance cannot be denied. So begins our tale, in fire and shadow, in blood and justice long delayed. The witches of Daybridge had returned, and their rage would shake the foundations of the world. Chapter 1. Shadows of the Past. The morning mist clung to the streets of Daybridge like a damp, suffocating shroud. Detective Ethan Reeves navigated the narrow